There's a small business award that we just seen. Now we have a large business award that we do every year. And those of you, whether you know of this company or organization or not, you see the beautification they've given us up and down Michigan Ave, 12 Main Street, whatever you may call it, and the beautiful landscaping that adorns us, so we get to drive by every day or multiple times a day, depending on your routes around Saline. So the large business of the year is A&H Lawn Service, and I'd like to invite Christy Vanderpool up here with me to help, and Tim and Brandon to the podium.
It really is an honor to get to introduce Tim and Brandon and these other guys behind me, but I have actually called them bosses for 22 years now. 22 years. Tim's been my brother for a lot longer than that. But because he's my brother, I got to see this from the beginning. I got to see where they started. And I remember Tim with his mullet and his frosted tips. He would wear his Saline varsity jacket out on the cold days. And Brandon with his awesome little teal Mercury Capri, which was their first vehicle that they pulled the trailer with. It was a nice looking outfit. It was really good. They made the trailer too by hand, if I remember that right. I believe out at my grandma and grandpa's house, and their mower was too big for it. So they had one mower and they had one trailer and they had a Mercury Capri that was teal. And I think it was in 1983. And this was in 1991. And the mower didn't fit. I don't want to steal anything from what they're about to say, but it was funny. They had to disassemble it and reassemble it at every job. And so we're surprised we're still here, but no, but I also, with that, I saw them work long hours. Tim still lived at home, and they pretty much based everything out of our house, and I was very young at the time, of course, and I would see them, we both had bedrooms in the basement. Tim was right next door to they'd come home at lunch, and they would be doing their voicemails and figuring out their bills and who owes what. Yeah, it wasn't voicemails, it was the answering machine. And I think they were probably finding checks hidden behind seats in cars. Brandon was notorious, I hear, for getting a check from a customer, throwing it in the glove box. Or he would tell Tim, like 6 weeks into the summer, so I've been doing this lawn for the last 6 weeks because they're a neighbor of someone we were doing, and they asked if we would do it, and Tim didn't know who they were. They hadn't sent him a bill. They were just doing it. So that's why there's two of them, because Brandon is the flower power and Tim is the bean counter. And we were going to say that, I'm sorry, because I kind of told you to, but that's how it is. They need each other to go together. And actually, I noticed that this morning when I was in my office. I heard Tim yell from his office, "Hey, Brandon, sounds like we picked up 3 of the whatchamacallit jobs." And then Brandon hollered back from his office, "Oh, did we? Okay, cool." That's 28 years of business that they know what the whatchamacallit jobs are. I don't know what the whatchamacallit jobs are, so I'm hoping that they tell me before it's time to build them out. But anyway, what they've done, and also they told me like 15 minutes ago that I could have done this as a roast, and I'm so disappointed that they didn't tell me that this morning. This whole night would have been so much better, but it's great anyway. But no, I really am honored. I've known, obviously, both of them forever. They've been my bosses for 22 years. They're great guys. They run a great business. They're honest and they're trustworthy, and that's why we're still in business 28 years later. And I'm proud to call them my bosses and my friends and sometimes my family as well. So I'd like to introduce Tim and Brandon.
I my glasses, and I'm not really good at the speaking thing. I look out here and I see. What's that?
That's still better than Mark.
Oh, I don't know. We'll judge it later. But I want to thank the Saline Area Chamber of Commerce for this award, and we're honored. We're truly honored to be the Large Business 2019 Large Business Award. Since we are the Large Business Award and we've been in business for 28 years, that means we're going to be here a long time. I have a lot of people to thank, so Fran's also going to help. But it started out with our parents. We wouldn't be here today without our parents. We used our bedrooms as our offices, their driveways as our shops, and we used all their lawn tools. We had nothing. Yeah, my grandma and grandpa, they loaned us $350. We didn't have $350 to get our first insurance policy, so they loaned us the $350 to do that. My wife Renee, and my kids, they put up with me. Snow removal's tough. You get up 15 times a night, in and out of bed.
Every hour on the hour.
Yeah.
Sometimes in between.
And she still puts up with me. She had her chance to run though. We were just dating, and she comes over to my condo, and I'm working. I got a spreadsheet out, and it took up the whole table because my spreadsheet was at least 6 pieces of lined paper with Scotch tape and a ruler. She's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm working." And she's like, "Really?" And I thought she was going to turn and run and leave me forever, but she instead taught me how to use Excel. I also want to give a special thanks to Pastor Ken at Keystone Church. He did this sermon or series called "Love Where You Live." It was great. Actually, everybody here should see that series because that changed my perspective on life and business. So now I'll try to get out of that stuff. But and I got this big guy here. So, strong leaders aren't afraid to hire people that are smarter than them. And so I didn't hire him, I picked him. And so I'm really a good leader, I think, because there's nobody that knows lawns and landscaping, plant material better than Brandon. So, you can do that.
Definitely a challenging industry that we work in, and from my perspective, we had nothing to begin with. I mean, we were both in college, 19 years old. I think Tim was maybe 18 at the time. And the idea came about, we got our start. We both worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken here in town. And this is where our lunch break idea was, that we were going to start a lawn service. So it was not we didn't think things through well. At a young age. First of all, we didn't have the equipment to run the business, but we were going to start a lawn business. And that's how it started, was with pulling it with the car. And one story I have, we were in Travis Point South, and we were stopped with our car and our handmade trailer that we nailed together with the hammer and nails, in the mower, that we were putting together each time we stopped, and drives by one of the larger lawn care companies in Ann Arbor, and with their nice new truck and their fancy mowers, pointing and laughing. And if anybody knows Tim is about the most laid back guy that you've ever met in your entire life. But I've seen a look on his face. He was extremely upset by this, to put it lightly. His face, I think, actually turned a few shades of red. He said, "Someday we're going to show them how this is." And it was a ton of work. There was a lot of work that we did, but Tim and I didn't figure out, we weren't even the best of friends, but we just worked together. We didn't do things out of work really. But for somehow we put this partnership that's lasted almost 29 years together. And there is nobody in my life that has more integrity, more honesty, and as good a person as Tim is. And anybody that knows Tim can attest to this. There's absolutely nobody. He is a top-notch individual. So I feel blessed to have Tim. I mean, he honestly is the leader of A&H. It takes a team. I know for a fact if Tim were to disappear on some circumstances, the doors would be closed in no time. Because A, I probably couldn't run the thing, but B, I would want no part of running this business without his leadership. He's just an amazing partner, and I think a lot of the success we have today is part to both of our hard work, but his leadership and directing the business to where it is today has been just outstanding. And from someone coming from a background that neither of us had any experience in the industry. And I was asked once, what would you do differently with your business, and from where you started and where you are today? one of the very few things I would have done differently, but one of them was I would have at least gone and worked for somebody for 6 months, for gosh sakes. Instead, we learned everything. We had no experience. I told my parents I was going to start a lawn service, and they both fell off their chairs. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to hear those talks. Because my dad said, you ran the mower up the tree and filled the pine tree. It was a typical thing, as you're growing up, and it's really helped me as a parent of teenagers, and now mine are young adults, and you can take somebody that has no interest in doing things poorly and taking doing poor quality with their work, but it's amazing what these individuals turn into later in life. And my stepson came to work for me this summer, and awesome athlete, but I don't think he ever got his hands dirty. And believe it or not, he has turned out to be, and first when we hired him, we had this conversation about, this line of work isn't for everybody, and if you quit, there's no hard feeling. Feeling uncomfortable, things don't work out. He just didn't want that, so we had this conversation, but then he's hired on, and he got put with a pretty productive crew that they don't mess around. They're very experienced, it's very fast paced, and I thought, oh boy. And I hadn't heard anything for about a month, and I thought, well, they're not saying anything as if the boss's kid, But you know what? He's turned out to be an awesome employee, far exceeded my expectations. So I think one of my messages to people in the group is, man, have some faith in our younger people, because they will surprise you on what they can do in life. And I think my parents, I'm thinking, my parents thought the same exact thing about me. I came up with this harebrained idea about some guy they'd never met that we were going to go into business, and I far exceeded their expectations, and I think that's important. But none of this could be possible without a team. I mean, it's A&H is a team, and as this being presented with this award, it's not something Tim or I did. Tim may be the leader of it, but our employees are, our one thing with us is we keep our clients for a very long time. But we've got employees over 22 years, whether family or not family. We've got a lot of long-term employees that really work hard for us. I think that's been really key, obviously key for us. I mean, we've got, Keegan's been with us for how many years? 18 years. Been our operations, worked his way up from a high school, or from a college student, as just kind of the grunt labor, to the operations manager. During that time, he went and got his degree, furthered his education, got his business degree. Just recently, within the last year, Tim and Jim and I had a close working relationship as competitors with another lawn service, and then he came to us this year and obviously is providing a lot of valuable insight to our operation and really helping us move to the next step, I guess, wherever that may be. Along with our dedicated employees, awesome clients that we've had for we've had some of our condominiums for 25 years. That's kind of unheard of in the whole lawn mowing condominiums. You've got lots of boards and management companies that you're dealing with, but several condominium complexes for 20 years, lots, just long-term. We've established great relationships with them. That's been possible by several people in this room. We've got Bill Rittinger, who's been our accountant for 20 years, probably. Always leading us in the right direction. Myself and Bill hardly know each other, but Tim, Bill, and Christy know each other very well. They don't let me have the checkbook very often.
We did that once, it was bad.
Tim went on vacation and came back to, all the bills were paid, but payroll hadn't been accounted for. We've got Scott Fosdick and Dave Gunther, who've been exceptional for us in the banking industry, and we really, really appreciate everything you've done for lots and lots of years. Probably Dave and Scott from the beginning. And they've just been awesome to work with. And then I don't know if Dennis is still here or not, Dennis Melendez. He was actually, we didn't figure this out for about 10 years after he'd been our attorney. He was my Finance 350 instructor at Eastern.
Oh my God.
Not only was he my attorney, he was my professor in college for my first 4 years of college. I also had an additional 4 years at Michigan State, getting my turf management degree. No doctor at the end of my name, but 8 years of tuition.
Yeah, just, so in closing, I guess, you know, I think as business owners, we look at everything through the finance lens and the ROIs and all that stuff. But what we have noticed in business is that, you know, building lasting relationships and giving back to the community, that gives you that instant ROI and satisfaction. And that's the most important thing, I think, in business. Thank you, everyone, for the work.
This part of the ceremony is known as passing of the cup.
Yeah.
I remember buying it. I wanted the biggest, most prominent cup, and you should proudly display it because you're. And I'm sorry, I just have one thought. I'm not sure about this, but didn't you guys win the Small Business Award too?
No.
Okay.
You just jumped right out.
I can remember all along that watching you grow like you have, and your investment in the community is just remarkable. One footnote about the cup: those of you going home with the cups, proudly display them because you earned it. And one side note: let the office staff know it's not there for waste paper basketball. Witnessed in the past.
I was gonna say, the one cup had candy in it. Kim's crew pretended to drink coffee out of theirs. After all the stories we just heard, I don't know what this cup's gonna go through, but it'll hopefully make it back next year safely. And then they have, like so we've learned this evening, they have the permanent plaque that they can put up forever.
Thank you.
And do what they want.
Wow.
And not everyone knows that A&H stepped up, and when Michigan Avenue was remodeled 3 years ago, we put in islands and planters in our downtown, and we struggled with plantings for them. And A&H stepped in and said, hey, we know what to do. We know what's gonna grow. We know how to maintain it. And they stepped in and they do it free of charge to the city of Saline. They donate their time, their services, and their products each season. And we're very grateful for that. Thank you.
I don't remember even whose idea the plantings was. Probably Tim and his whole
Love where you live.
love where you live perspective. But you know, when we saw those plantings at Goodner, I was like, wow, there's some good potential there for some really nice plantings. And then they put in what we affectionately refer to as gas station plants. You know those plants, the ones that you just stick in the ground and forget, and they grow and they survive. Understandably, you need low maintenance, but we just saw a huge potential for that area and really, you know, bringing some enjoyment as people drive by and notice it. And we're just really privileged to do that for the community.